will build back better.
Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, we check in on how the rebuilding process is going for one eastern Kentucky county 9 months after the flood. Plus, there are new claims about the life and behavior of the Massachusetts airman accused of leaking highly classified documents online.
Plus, shower chances continue as we head through the night tonight. But what about as we head closer to the weekend? I'm tracking the latest as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. Olivia is on assignment tonight at the East Kentucky Leadership Conference. 9 months after a devastating and deadly flood, there is progress, but a lot of work to be done. There are still a lot of people living in temporary housing and renovations to be completed in some places, while some folks are just starting over elsewhere. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to folks impacted by the disaster and how they are working to recover.
I could hear them screaming for help.
Jesse Terry vividly remembers the night 9 months ago he and his neighbors did whatever they could to survive.
Actually, it seems longer. It really does to me. It seems like it's a long time ago. I don't know. It didn't affect me, I guess, the way some people did. I know my girl, she was upset, still is, still messes with her time to time.
Terry has a new home right in front of the house he only lived in 5 years before the flood. Around him are the sights and sounds of progress. New bridges, road work, and there's a creek that's just a trickle now. But some are still living in travel trailers, and officials say that maybe 5 to 7 years before all the recovery ends.
As far as everything getting built back and put back and all that, I'd say so. I mean, I don't know about how long it takes people to get over something.
The Buckhorn School looks deserted. Of course, it hasn't been used all school year. The floodwaters destroyed nearly everything inside the building. But the good news is they are very, very close to start renovations, hopefully later this summer.
Floodwaters and debris swept through the school during the July flooding, and what's left is only the shell of a building. Everything else is being replaced.
We have concrete walls, and we have a roof, and we have obviously the floor without the finished floor.
A lot was lost, but some unique items were found.
This was a deposit slip with $1 on it. And so I thought, well, that's $1 I'm not going to deposit.
It's going to cost millions to renovate the school, but this proves some things discovered are priceless. In Perry County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Perry County school officials say they are hoping a combination of federal and state funds will pay for the cost of the renovation at Buckhorn.
Bit of a dreary afternoon throughout the mountains as we've watched kind of in slow motion those rain showers work on into the region. There's the view from Buffalo Mountain. We're hanging steady near 60 with plenty of mist and rain in the air as those showers continue to work on through. There you see the slow progression of those showers pushing into the region, put it in motion, and you see parts of the Big Sandy just now getting in on the showers that we've been dealing with in the Kentucky River Valley and the Cumberland Valley for quite a while. Temperatures, where it's raining, we've held steady in the upper 50s to near 60. We're still in the mid 60s in parts of the Big Sandy, but those temperatures were in the 70s not long ago, so we've cooled off considerably as those showers have moved in. Your forecast first through tonight. Yeah, we're going to see those scattered showers continue as we slowly drop temperatures into the 50s for tonight. Steve, I don't think it rains all day tomorrow. I'll have the latest on when the prime time is for the showers coming up in a few minutes.
All right, rain or not, it's still Friday tomorrow. Thank you very much, Evan. West Virginia Governor Jim Justice has announced his bid for Senate. The move sets up a potential challenge for the incumbent Democratic Senator Joe Manchin. Now, Justice is a former Democrat switching to the Republican Party in 2017, and it's not the first time he's changed parties. He was an independent and a Republican until 2015 when he ran for governor as a Democrat. Manchin, another former governor who has served in the Senate since 2010, has not yet said if he plans to run for re-election in 2024. A federal judge says he will take his time to decide whether suspected Pentagon leaker Jack Teixeira will remain in custody or be released pending his trial on espionage charges. But Magistrate Judge David Hennessy expressed some doubts about Teixeira's lawyers, who argue their client would not flee the country or leak more classified material if he's released. CBS's Nicole D'Antonio has more from Washington, D.C.
The Air National Guardsman accused of leaking classified material will stay in jail for now. During a 90-minute hearing, Judge David Hennessy questioned lawyers for 21-year-old Jack Teixeira, who have asked for their client to be released. Teixeira is charged with espionage after allegedly posting classified material in a chat room, which was then spread online. Teixeira's lawyers said, quote, he had no idea that it would go beyond this little circle of people on the server. Judge Hennessy interrupted, saying, that's like arguing I pulled the trigger, but I had no intent to kill him. I find it a little incredible that the defendant could not foresee that possibility. Prosecutors argue that if released, Teixeira could either try to flee the country or obstruct the investigation. In court filings, they allege Teixeira already destroyed evidence, including a laptop and a game console. Questions continue to be raised about why the 21-year-old had access to classified material, with court documents showing a number of red flags. Prosecutors say 5 years ago, Teixeira was suspended from high school for talking about weapons, mentioning Molotov cocktails and guns, and making racial threats. That was flagged to local police when Teixeira applied for a firearm license. Prosecutors also allege he searched mass killings online and posted comments saying he wanted ISIS to, quote, kill a ton of people. Investigators say they found a gun locker, weapons, and tactical gear in his bedroom at the Massachusetts home where FBI agents arrested him. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Washington.
Teixeira's father, a former correctional officer, asked the judge to release his son into his custody and promised to notify the court if Teixeira violated any of the judge's conditions. The Equal Rights Amendment has failed to advance in the Senate. The resolution to remove the deadline for ratification of the proposed amendment to the Constitution failed in the Senate 51-47. Although it had 2 Republican co-sponsors, most GOP senators opposed it, arguing they do not think the amendment is needed because of the equal protections provided to women in the 14th Amendment. Supporters say the Equal Rights Amendment would ban discrimination on the basis of sex and guarantee equality for all under the Constitution. It has been ratified by 38 states, seemingly meeting the required 3/4 needed to be approved. However, some of those states adopted it after a congressionally mandated deadline had passed, raising questions about the validity of those actions. Former President Donald Trump's lawyer cross-examined writer E. Jean Carroll in court today about a 1990s encounter at a Manhattan department store that she says ended with Trump raping her. CBS's Graham Cates has the latest on the civil trial from outside the courthouse in New York.
The writer E. Jean Carroll was questioned on the stand Thursday by an attorney for former President Donald Trump in a civil defamation and battery trial. Carroll has accused Trump of raping her in a New York department store in the mid-1990s and defaming her after she went public with the allegations in 2019. On Wednesday, she described an alleged attack that started with pleasant banter while walking through the store, but ended with a violent assault in a dressing room. Trump denies the allegations, and on Thursday, his attorney, Joe Tacopina, zeroed in on a 2017 email between Carroll and a friend that Tacopina has said is proof of scheming against Trump. He also questioned Carroll on whether she thought including the allegations against Trump in a book she wrote would increase sales. Carroll acknowledged that she did think that, but said she was mistaken. The federal trial is expected to continue next week. Graham Cates, CBS News, New York.
Now, Trump is not expected to appear at the trial, and this just in, related to the former president as well. Former Vice President Mike Pence, we understand, has testified in a case against Donald Trump, according to a source for the Associated Press, and we'll have more on that, of course, later on the CBS Evening News. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, house fires are traumatizing, and the last thing on your mind is remembering what you had in your kitchen or living room. Why making a home inventory can help if disaster strikes.
And wet weather does not look to last all day tomorrow, but it could be a soggy commute as we head through the morning hours. The latest after this.
WYMT News app offers alerts on breaking stories as they happen.